there's no easy answer to that. I have no doubt that there's a lot of controversy behind Sam and what he does. I understand that completely. I kind of love that as well. I love that it brings up so much heated discussion as to how to deal with this. But if you've watched the movie, there's one thing that I think is really interesting is at the end when he says, you know, if your wife, or if your daughter, your son, or family member was taken by a terrorist, and I told you I could get him back, you know, would you care how I did it? But to be honest, that's your answer right there. We're not living, you asking that question as an American citizen sitting here, you know, in Texas, it's a very different world out there. If you know anything about the Lord's Resistance Army, they truly have no function, no political agenda, except to go in and kill people. They go in, they cut people up, they burn people to death, they force kids to kill other kids, ritualize killings, they rape the children. This is one of the things that as I learned, as I studied this, I kept thinking, surely I'm going to find something that they do. Maybe, you know, they give something to the community that they don't. You know, they kidnap children, they wipe out villages, that's all they do. In a situation like that, when I hear that question, I go, okay, that's a fair point in a world that makes sense, but that world doesn't make so much sense. And therefore, I kind of think, if Sam hadn't existed, or if Sam had listened to that question that you asked, then 1,000 children would be dead. And for the last 20 years, 1,500 kids a day would not have been fed. So that's the other way to analyze it from the converse, or the other side, you know, gives me my answer.
Did this role make you, or I don't even know if you're leaning towards it or not, did you feel led in a certain direction as far as religiously by him? Did it have an effect on your life personally, his religious, you know, leanings, I guess?
No, affected, yes. Changed. I don't know if I was changed. You know, I think I was born Catholic, grew up Catholic, practicing Catholic. I've always tried to stay spiritual. I've had my many spiritual quests out to India and back, and kind of form my own spiritual path to the extent that I'd say now I'm more religious than more spiritual than religious, but I still have a strong draw towards religion. So when I see this movie being made and the power that religion had in his life, although really, well, is it religion or is it God? You know,
right.
You know, it's God really that drives him. Then I love those kind of stories because I do believe in that, in the power of faith, in the power of belief and purpose, and so it's one of the things that gave me a greater desire to tell the story, and that when you come out the other side, you feel more backed up by those kind of laws, you know.
That's one of the reasons why I did this movie, because it is provocative. It's essentially the Old Testament, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, really. What I can tell you is what the facts are, and that whether you agree or disagree, there are thousands of children that are being saved as a result of what he's done, and thousands more that are being fed because of him. When you look at the area in which this movie took place, there are no rules, really. I can't say that his rules are right or wrong, but I can definitely tell you that there's not a lot of positive things to say about the LRA. They're not doing a lot of positive things out there in terms of children. And I know that Sam is fighting a fight that is almost, it's unbelievable, really. So But this is why we want people to go and see this film, because it's going to challenge your belief system, and it's going to make people talk and debate, and that's why I think it's an important film. I mean, I also appreciate it because he's a flawed hero. He's not perfect, you know. And oftentimes I think people sometimes feel that they feel like people who make a difference, those are reserved for people who are really great all the time, who are perfect. And what I love about this film is that no one's perfect, you know, and you can still make a difference in this world, regardless of what your past, whatever your sordid past may be, or whatever it is now. You can turn your life around and make a difference in somebody else's life.
Yeah, I would never condone violence or even try to condone what I do is right. But I would ask you this year, who was David, who was Gideon, who was Joshua? I could go on and on, but I'm not here to discuss that. I'm not here to try to make anything I've ever done, you know, right or wrong in somebody's eyes. You know, I shut drug dealers down. I shut 3 major drug dealers down in my area. 8 children died in 5 weeks' time. You have children?
Yes.
Okay. I lost my son to heroin 5 years ago. I'm not going to lose any more kids to drugs. There ain't going to be a drug dealer in my town. So it don't matter if I'm in Africa or where I'm at. I'm going to get it done. You know, and I would never stand behind a pulpit and try to even let on that Jesus Christ condones violence. But he did say to his disciples after he was resurrected, you know, I'm sending you out this time, take an extra pair of shoes, take an extra coat. If you don't have a sword, sell your coat and buy one. What was the sword for?
The entire rebel army has put a bounty on your head.
I must be doing something right.
You burn it down. Nothing left.
It's over.
Get off your butt and build it again. You hear me?
Sam, wait!
She will wait and get you!
This place does not need more guns.
Why don't you fight the evil in this place your way and let me fight it mine?